no, no, yeah, no, 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 yeah, no, 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 yeah, yeah, no, yeah, no, 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 yeah, no, 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 yeah, no, 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 yeah, yeah, no.
Back to a wonderful episode of Two Beers Deep, Thoughts from the Bench. Still have TSTV graphic up, but that's okay. We'll figure it
It's
out.
okay, man. The people know.
Just
And
having-
anyone is curious, they can dig into it and figure out more.
It is an interesting, like, if you know that there's nothing,
It's an inside thing,
there's
yeah.
nothing to know.
It's an inside thing between the two of us that no one else probably gets a full grasp on, but whatever.
Yeah, I mean, it's as inside gets, I guess.
Exactly. We're
So-
all about the inside here.
Now that everyone's here, let's talk about Agatha. All along spoilers.
You suck.
I have some questions for you, Greg, mainly stemming from how fucking dare you, but let's get the show on the road. 3, 2, 1, action. What are you drinking?
I did not get a new six-pack or anything yet, so I decided to break out one of the last things that I still had in there, the last of my Reflect and Respect anniversary IPA from Trace.
Nice.
Yeah. Which, by the way, did you see that they did, them and Steel City Cotton Works did like a collab on social media online, which I thought was sick as hell.
No way.
Mm-hmm.
That's sick. How'd it turn out?
I think it was, and I can't remember the dude's name. Who's the main brewer at Trace?
I don't remember his name.
Fuck, I can't remember his name either. But yeah, there was just a black and white style video with that. I think Steel City, like it was mostly their production work, and he was actually like doing the process of getting the kettle ready and all that, and actually like brewing the beer while wearing Steel City stuff. So it was a really good look. I saw it on Adam's IG first, and it was really cool. Look.
Yeah, Instagram.com/ is it just Trace Brewing?
I believe so, yeah.
Black and white, yeah. A Labor of Love featuring Trace Brewing.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
It turned out pretty sick, and I wish I remembered the dude's name.
Corey Morton.
Corey, okay, that's right.
Yeah, I never met him, but yeah, it looks really cool. A Labor of Love. That's a cool way to work it. Yeah. What are your thoughts on Steel City? Oh no, Corey's the guy that shot it. That is not the head brewer. I'll figure it out. What are your thoughts on Steel City? I know you're a kind of a huge fan of them, I would assume.
I'm a T Club member. I am about 10,000 points away from the jacket. That's like the customized embroidered Steel City like Letterman jacket. So
Damn.
I'll be excited to finally get that. But no, I'm a huge fan of theirs, and they just added like a bunch of they got a bunch of stuff that's like simple, like plain long sleeves, plain Henleys, plain T-shirts and stuff that just fit really nicely and stuff. And I don't know, something about them that I think I just appreciate is like they're essentially just a local clothing brand that like really just loves Pittsburgh.
Nice.
That just like it fits me to a degree, I guess. So like I love supporting them, and I love wearing their stuff. And I think their shirts are awesome. So that's just how I am with it.
Very cool.
And I have a bomb ass jean jacket that I don't get to wear much.
And I was gonna say you don't wear that jean jacket too much, but when you wear it, it's very curatedly
it fits me.
Nice. Yeah.
It fits me perfectly. Yes.
Is that your black one?
No, the black one is the one with the hood. The one that I have from Steel City is dark gray. One that, and this drives me nuts. And I feel like this is something that you might have a good take on. I can never figure out when it's a good time to wear a jean jacket and jeans. Like, do they go together, or is it too much?
subjectively, you can try and make anything work. So
Right.
making an outfit work is mainly about how you carry yourself in that outfit. So yes,
Fair.
to me, is there a good time to wear denim on denim? Not really, especially if it's the same color, but that's me and what I know how to wear.
Fair.
Like like I wore my denim shirt today to work, but I never
Mhm.
wear it with jeans. I wear it with slacks or joggers, or I wear it today with these cargo pants I have. So
Right. Like I feel like you can't wear. It's hard to pull off denim on denim. So it's like for me, like if I want to wear that jacket, like I know for a fact, like okay, I have to either wear slacks or khakis or something with it, because like for me, it's just too much. And also like denim is not breathable. Like
no, God
it's
no.
so like wearing like a jacket or shirt plus the pants, like you're gonna feel restricted in multiple ways, which is unfortunate, but it's a fact. So that's something I feel about. This might be the first time we've ever talked about fashion or clothes related stuff on
Well,
this
we're
show.
two people that probably shouldn't be talking about fashion. It's kind of
We should not. No, not at all. I'm wearing a
and
Power Ranger shirt for God's sake.
before you say something, I would say even with Josh on the show, we should not be
Never.
talking about
No,
fashion.
no. Compared to compare, if it's the three of us, his is the third ranked on this show.
I'd agree with that because I
He's gonna be
couldn't.
really pissed if he
Well, I
says
don't
that.
even know how I would describe Josh's fashion to the world because it's kind of
He's
like,
he's he's confident in it. I'll give him that.
well, it's just yeah. Oh, he's definitely confident. It's like if every piece of clothing you wore came from a garage sale, like not
Save money.
necessarily a thrift store, like a garage sale. Some great finds, some something else, but everything is like a story.
Hmm.
Not
He
I
takes
don't know.
pride in it.
Yeah,
Good for him. For
I
me,
like it.
I just want something. For me, I just want something that fits my personality and somewhat makes me look good. I
Mm,
guess. I don't know.
I
I
have a
don't know.
style.
I'm aware of your style.
Yeah. How would you describe my style?
Mm, it's a good way to explain it. I don't even know like good adjectives when it comes to style because again, I'm not a good person to ask for
I would well,
style.
you're fine again. Me neither. I would say my style is if you gave somebody a popular lookbook of all the high like streetwear brands and then took them
Hmm.
to Kohl's. Like I don't own anything from Kith. Really, I do own Kith stuff,
You
but
do, yeah,
I
you do.
will put together an outfit that looks like it might possibly have one time been a concept of somebody at Kith. Like whether it's just a hoodie and a flannel or something like that. That's kind of where I'm at. It's like
I,
it's definitely a
okay,
hype
so
beast
you're kind
vibe
of
though.
like
Cheap hype beast.
you take advantage of like the popular look, but you use it with stuff that isn't going to blow up your bank account. But if you do, it's like one item that like you went out of your way for. It's not the whole thing, if that makes sense. That's
Yeah,
kind of the logic I'm going with.
most of my nice items are gifts, which is cool. I'd say a
Which, by
lot
the
of
way, you still
sports.
chugging on some garage beers?
Yeah, so this is garage beer, and then switch it up with some of the lime. So yeah, they're good
I
beers.
did you texted me about the lime one this weekend, didn't you? In the group
Yeah, I
chat, I
said that
think.
it is I think the best lime beer I've ever had.
Well, there's not too many like lime beers off
Mhm.
the top of my head I can think of aside from like Bud Light Lime, or like if you go to a craft brewer and like they're specifically like or they're specifically like going out of their way to
Well,
like
I'd
push
say
like a lot
there's
lager and stuff like
a
that.
lime Michelob. I'm looking at a list now.
Okay,
There's
okay.
sea quenched.
That is lime. That is
Mm-hmm.
true. Okay. Yeah, you
Mm-hmm.
don't think of it as lime because it's kind of like it's got like a salty type
Yeah.
begin. Yeah.
Yeah, garage beer is made by the Braxton Brewing Company. There it is. Stone
Mm,
has a lime. Yeah, I mean there are some. It just for me most lime
mm.
beers like Bud Light lime, like all those, they just taste really I don't know, like
Artificial.
fake. Yeah, like if you go and buy a margarita mix at the store, that's the kind of
Oh,
lime you're getting. Where this just tastes kind of like a
yeah.
beer with lime in it.
Bud Light Lime is one of the few beers that I will not go back to drinking. I distinctly remember when I was like 18 or 19. I distinctly remember like kids I grew up with, like we like
Mm-hmm.
just hanging out at their house one day and like all they had was Bud Light Lime that they somehow got. And I remember drinking like 4, 5 of them overnight, and then the next morning I woke up and beer shits that smell like lime.
Yeah,
Not a pleasant thing.
lime's an interesting one. Big fan, but
Lime is an interesting thing. It does not work well for your digestive tract at all.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. So sports are happening. Jets, Patriots tonight. We do got Agatha all along, which I am not spoiling for Greg, but we will discuss a little bit of the build up to it. Let's start there, just because sports will come around. So why haven't you watched it yet? Is how I will start.
The 2 episode premiered last night at 9 o'clock. Last night at 9 o'clock, yeah. Well, I go on work days, like I go to bed at 10 because I gotta get up at 6 to get a workout in and stuff. So like I knew I wasn't gonna be able to get through all of it, and I didn't know how long the first episode was gonna be. Because like for all I know, it could have been like a 90-minute one or something. So like I decided like okay, I'll wait till Friday because like I know I got this, and then I will probably after. Because I think after work Friday, I don't have anything to do tomorrow, so like I'll be able to like just binge both of them, and then I'll be good. But I didn't think about this at the time, but like I didn't realize after kind of reading some stuff earlier about it that this is the second of like a 3 series structure of first it's WandaVision, now Agatha, and then it's gonna lead it. I don't know if it's gonna lead into it, but it's at least gonna like maybe kind of set up Vision Quest. We don't even know if that's the actual title or not, but it's fair to say WandaVision is the best Disney Plus MCU show that's been made.
You think?
As of now, yes. And the only reason I say that is because I think in terms of story structure, it was the best because it kept you guessing for figuring out what was going on. Because there was like a time for like 6 weeks, like everyone kept saying it's Mephisto, it's Mephisto, it's Mephisto, and then like I distinctly remember Kevin Smith, like who's like a big comic nerd and like big pop culture guy, like even was like, "There's no way it's gonna be." And then after like episode 6 or 7, like he even finally admitted and thought it's gonna be Mephisto. Like it, like really like messed with everyone thinking that it's gonna be it, and then it just turned out not to be. So I appreciate that. And I think all the connective tissue that one show had throughout the MCU is just impressive to me, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. I think now what I want to do is I'm looking to see if I can find one. Awesome, I have found it, and this is what we are going to do right now.
You're going to make me do a blind rank of all the MCU shows, aren't you?
Not a blind rank, really.
Okay.
So I'm setting it up. You're seeing how the sausage is made. Apologies for anybody watching on YouTube. But we are going to find out how I can do this and what might have to happen. You know what? Everyone will just see the whole page and you'll see me scrolling and stuff. So we have a tier maker.
Okay.
A Marvel tier maker. And I think this is as good a time as any for us to tier all the MCU projects.
Oh, okay. That's something good.
Light one down. So this is one-shots, this is the shows, this is the movies. A little bit of everything in this, which is fun.
Okay.
Yeah. And we're just going to look at them and kind of go a little one by one and see what we got. So you'll see all of them down here, which respectfully... I lost the bottom to this light. Not lost it, I know where it is. So we're just going au naturel today, and it's going to look worse. It looks all right.
You look like me. That's awesome.
Yeah. All right, never mind. I can't do that.
Can't do it.
Can't do that. I'll put the beer. Let's see if we can do. Good enough. Still bright.
South Garage Beer Lime.
Yeah. All right, we're just gonna go. Actually, I think I like that one. I want to do just the TV shows. I'm thinking MCU series,
start
Disney
small,
Plus.
Here we go. If we're here for all the properties, like that's gonna be a while while we're here.
Yeah, but
I think
isn't all of them either. Let's see. I'm gonna search Marvel shows and see what.
And that's And by the way, like I think the other thing we have to be careful with too is like,
All right, I got it.
do you okay. I was curious, like, are we including the Netflix ones? Are we including
So
like
Luke Cage is in here. Here's the
Luke
ones we
Cage?
have, which you'll need to call out if we're missing any.
Okay.
Well, I don't see. Yeah, I don't see She-Hulk on here, so
Hmm.
clearly we're missing some on that list. All right, we'll find one here.
Yeah. Yeah.
All MCU movies, Netflix, and shows. Well, that's very clearly not all MCU movies, Netflix, or shows.
No, it is
Um,
not.
Marvel's Netflix television series. No, because we don't want Netflix. Why is this so hard? This feels like it should be an easy one, no?
You would think like you could just go on Wikipedia and then just look up like the
Yeah, but I'm on
and just
Ranker. Like I'm on a website.
okay. Got it. Got it. Okay.
Marvel shows plus Netflix original. Let's see. This one has Daredevil, Falcon Winter Soldier, Hawkeye, Jessica Jones, Loki, Luke Cage, Moon Knight, Miss Marvel, Punisher, She Hulk, WandaVision, What If? Are we missing any big ones?
Secret Invasion.
Yep.
Trying to think off the top of my head.
Let me
We're
go
not gonna
back.
include like
Go ahead.
we're not gonna include one shot. So like not like Guardians of the Galaxy, like Christmas special, or like or Werewolf by
I
Night
don't
or anything like
think we
that.
should. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna click a big one, and we're just gonna do the TV shows
Got it.
because that should scratch our itch. We just obviously won't have
Mm.
all MCU, including movies, TV, Netflix, and one shots. All right, we're just gonna go and find the show and start with that. Let's go with She-Hulk, Greg. We have S, A, B, C, D. S is S tier, the best of the best. D is the lowest tier. Where would you put She-Hulk in terms of the MCU television shows?
I did like She-Hulk when I watched it, but I think it got too complicated near the end of
Okay.
it. So like I'm gonna put it C tier.
Okay. So I'm cool with that. We're gonna run you doing it, and then I'll just talk you through where I would have them. That way, it can
Okay.
be
Fair.
your ranking
Fair.
of it. It's
Fair.
this is a tough one for me because I liked She-Hulk. I
Hmm.
loved that it wasn't as serious. I loved that it was kind of like a rom-com. I
Hmm.
really, really do think the CGI looked rushed, which I don't know how to make CGI, so I'm not going to complain too much.
No, no,
But
no, absolutely.
kind of stunk there. What did you think about the Kevin scene?
I thought it was. Here's the thing, like I appreciated the fourth wall breaking
Hmm.
all of that show, but I think it got when I said it got too cute. The finale is kind of like what I mean by that. Like there was almost no there was no like payoff to like the series long type of like background story that was going on with that, and then it just kind of like completely reset it like immediately. I appreciate the creativity with it, and I thought the Kevin thing was funny, but it just I don't know, something about it just like kind of didn't sit right with me, and I think it didn't sit right with a lot of people either because I don't think they're bringing it back. Like so that's why I kind of leave it as a C tier type thing for me.
Yeah,
There's a lot of good moments in that show, but that ending was just like
like
something about it just like didn't sit right with me.
is it that Hulk just has a kid?
No, that didn't bug me
That
surprisingly,
that bugged
because
the
because you
shit out of me.
really.
How are you just gonna drop that at the end of She-Hulk? That makes
I
no
mean,
sense.
well, like I think they teed it up because like he was going into space during the run of She-Hulk, so it's probably like he could have had a kid while he was off world after Age of Ultron, perhaps.
But that's my
Like,
point. Is perhaps now they Hulk just does have a kid, which
mm-hmm.
seemed like this one-off. Look at all the things we missed, and here's Hulk's kid. Hulk has a child, like that
Yeah,
is a
it. I know,
20-year-old.
but
I don't know, whatever. I would put it in the D. Sucky thing is, I did like it. I liked the writing. I loved Megan Thee Stallion. I thought it was funny. I loved the cameos. I loved the Feige scene. For me, though, it rushed at the end. Terrible CGI. didn't really bring me much. I hope it comes back. I would put in the D, but here's the real thing: is like not many of these shows are going to be in the D category. So if I am going to
Right.
be tied to one being there, I have some justifiable, real reasons why it would be there.
Yeah. I think the weekly shows, like, it was a cute setup to watch. I'm
Agreed.
not I wasn't necessarily 100% that sold on how they introduced Daredevil to this MCU world necessarily.
Okay, let's walk through that.
I thought it was okay to like kind of like joke like, oh, like he's, like the costume designer for She-Hulk is the same for Daredevil and stuff, and that's how we get the gold helmet and stuff like
Hmm.
that. I thought that was cool, but like, I don't know, like, of all things to like bring Matt Murdock in, it's being the lawyer for the guy who creates the designs for the superheroes.
Yeah,
Like,
but
it's a little.
was that before or after Spider-Man No Way Home? Because that
Ooh,
wouldn't
that's a
have been
good
his
question.
intro back. I think She-Hulk came out after.
I think it did. You're right.
So
You're
then he
right.
was
Because
already introduced in it. But to your
he
point,
was, yeah, yeah.
like, is that really what we're doing? Is that he's just the superhero lawyer? I actually liked him being the costume designer's.
Lawyer.
Yeah,
I think that was a fun thing to be like, yeah, it's how we pay the bills because like
yep,
he's a because like him and Foggy like run like a very like poor law firm, so it's like this helps pay the bills by
hundred
going out to
percent.
California and stuff. So like I appreciate it. Yeah,
Let's go to Miss Marvel.
man, I really liked Miss Marvel too. Which is
Okay.
gonna be a theme, by the way. Is like I'm just gonna say I really liked a lot of this stuff.
Hmm.
Ms. Marvel to me, it was a great setup with only 6 episodes, gave
Hmm.
a great backstory to Kamala, and I think Iman Vellani was perfectly cast for that character.
Hmm.
Perfectly cast. I it's not S tier. It's like it's like right in that like high B, low A tier for me.
Okay.
I think I think I will lean towards B tier though.
Cool. Yeah, I had put her in B tier for you, just assumption, so that's cool.
Hmm.
Um, so this show I thought was really shot well. I loved the
Hmm.
graffiti drawing is like her drawing tie-in. A couple core issues with it. So right now I would have She-Hulk and D, and I would have Miss Marvel probably C or B. I
Okay.
don't disagree with you. I think that it's funny. I still don't understand the Bangle power, but then you obviously get to the movie, the Marvels, which does.
Right, right.
Her whole time traveling thing is interesting. It was a lot for 6 episodes, but the other side of it is, I do have an appreciation for them in the MCU taking these concepts from the books and the comic books and making them their own. Because she is
Yeah.
not a mutant in the
No.
comics, but she
Yeah,
has
this is
now been the introduction to mutants.
Yeah, like no one expected that at all in the finale, and I thought that was a great introduction because everyone assumed the Bengal is what gave her the power. No, it's the gene in her that activated it, which
Yep.
is a fascinating spin on it. I don't know. I just feel like, and also what I loved about it too is that it was like polar opposite of Moon Knight, which we'll get to, but like Moon Knight, how like there was almost no connection to the MCU, but like Ms. Marvel is
Mm-hmm.
like, no, this is like a huge MCU nerd, just like all of us who like just wants to like get as much as she can and like does all this and lives out her dream
Yeah.
to be a superhero as a high schooler. Like it's fun. There's just
Agreed.
something about it to me that like just kind of that it was so enjoyable to watch. So that's why I put it in B tier.
Let's go to Hawkeye.
B tier.
Mmm.
B tier.
Why?
The reveal of Kingpin was awesome. Well, I was not expecting it. I love the lead up where they're like the big guy, where they keep talking
Yep.
about it throughout the show. Um, I Lucky the Pizza Dog I thought was great. The chemistry between like Florence Pugh and oh God, why is the name of like person who's the lead in Hawkeye is like escaping me?
Renner? Jeremy Renner?
No, 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 the no, not no, the female.
Oh, Kate Bishop.
Yeah, I can't remember. I don't remember the girl's name who plays Kate Bishop. God.
It's
But the,
Haley Seinfeld or something like that.
Haley Steinfeld. Yeah.
Yeah.
The chemistry between Florence Pugh and Haley Steinfeld was amazing.
Yep.
Like, it was just because like I thought Florence Pugh was great in that show.
Agreed.
But B tier, I think because it kind of gave the appreciation for Hawkeye that we needed. Had a Broadway show to like be like the post credit scene for the end of it, which I thought was hilarious. And I just think like in terms of like big picture connection to the MCU, I don't think it gave much, but I did like kind of the small little like winks to it, like finding out his wife was the original Mockingbird and a couple other things. I mean, I love the LARPing scene, which was hilarious to me to
I
have that in
would
there. So
disagree with you when you say it didn't do much for the larger MCU because to me, this show set up street level Marvel. Um,
mm,
so this show brought Echo. It brought Kingpin back in.
it
It
did. Okay, you're right.
introduced this kind of one. It introduced Young Avengers, which
It
is
did.
cool with Kamal in there. And for me, it also introduced us into a world in which we all have to understand that Spider-Man is no longer this super powered, amazing suit guy. Like this was the first grounding, in my opinion, of the superheroes, which is something that the Netflix Marvel shows tried to do
Yeah,
with
yeah.
Luke and with all those guys with Daredevil. This was MCU saying, "Hey, we have Hawkeye. It's a Christmas special. It's a little campy, but at the same time, we have Florence Pugh, who is a movie star in this TV show, in this ground level. You don't need superpowers to be a superhero branch of Marvel, which I liked."
I'll give you that. And I think and this came out right after No Way Home too, because this was like because I remember the Christmas tree in Rockefeller Center was like
Yep.
used at the end of No Way Home, and you see it again in Hawkeye. So I love that connective tissue with it. But I would still put it in B tier. I think that and Ms. Marvel are like right there in terms
Hmm.
of like middle of the pack MCU shows, but are also very enjoyable to watch.
Nice. I don't disagree with all of that at all. Let's go to Falcon and Winter Soldier.
I think A tier.
Okay, that's where I place them out of a guess.
Yeah, I think A tier. I think the story of Sam learning to accept the responsibility of being Captain America is awesome. I think the Bucky story of coming to terms with
The
trauma that he
disrespect, by
had.
the way, of the
What?
snoring that's happening behind me.
He doesn't care about the MCU
Just
apparently.
out like a light.
Eh, those drugs kick in like real quickly apparently.
What a guy. Keep going.
No, so A tier. I think it's because that I appreciated it also kind of like that same tone of like the Captain America movies where it's like very like espionage
Mm-hmm.
and like terrorist heavy and stuff like that. I thought Zemo was hilarious in it, like just kind of like the awkward goofiness of them in the city that they like go
Agreed.
get him in. I thought was hilarious. The ending could have been a little bit better, sure, but I think in terms of like what it's set up as well, because now we're getting Sam Wilson in his own Captain America movie, and we're getting Bucky in Thunderbolt. So like I think it's set up the characters really nicely. So I for
Yep.
that I give it A tier.
Yeah, it would be. I believe the show would be S tier if it was able to do what they wanted to do and COVID didn't happen. Because the
Mm,
problem with this show at its core was it felt very loose, and that's because it was. It was a show that
right.
was built off the Flag Smashers releasing a COVID like disease to the world, and Disney made the choice, or Marvel made the choice to basically be like, all right, we're going to switch that up and see what we can do. So there's a lot that doesn't make sense in this show. I
Yep.
love Bucky's relationship with the old elderly Asian guy for the Sunny Kid. Like, I love those
Right.
scenes. I love him dating. I love the John Carpenter stuff and, like, their, tire dynamic there. The
Hmm.
Sam stuff with the previous Captain America Super Soldier and, like,
Right. I
talking
love the
about
the
it.
stuff with the Dora Milaje was great too.
Yeah, I will say I loved almost everything except for Carter being the whatever it's called. Who's the bad guy in it?
What?
The
Oh,
art stealer.
Oh God. Yeah, I know what you mean. Like the reveal that like she turns out to be the one who's like now the
The
in the government. Yeah, I know what you mean. I can't remember what it is either because like I haven't watched that. I haven't watched the show in a long time. But like,
let's see.
which by the way, I don't know if you're like me or not. But like, do you ever go back to watch any of the shows after you see them one time through?
Eh, not really. I haven't, but I
Okay.
would.
Yeah, like the one-offs I will. Like I will probably watch Werewolf by Night again at some point like
Oh,
this.
well, where if I went, I'd definitely watch that again.
Yeah, yeah. Or like even like I'll watch Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas special again because I just think that was so goofy and funny and it was perfect for Christmas. So like I appreciate that. But like the series, like it has to be like it has to be an episode that like just blew me away that like I would have to go back to and say like I need to watch that again, you know?
Power Broker. That is Sharon Carter's
Oh, Power
alias.
Broker. Okay. Got it.
All right. Give that A tier. Let's find another one here. Obviously, we have trillions of movies on this.
Mhm.
Let's go ahead over to a heavy hitter one and just see kind of where you're at with that. Moon Knight.
What sucks about Moon Knight is that it made me never want to get a scales tattoo, which pisses me off because I actually thought about getting one a long time ago.
Fair.
It pisses me off now that I can't. Um, I put that at I put that at A tier as well. I love the fact how different it is because there's barely any connection to the MCU. I think the only connection is them like in the one episode where they talk about like having a prior acquaintance in the city
Mm-hmm.
from Winter Soldier and Falcon. Um, I love the story of like Oscar Isaac's portrayal of like two different characters
Mm-hmm.
completely who make up the same body, and then you find out that there's a third one, and then all the I love the stuff. I love like just the twist about like them being in a mental institution
Mm-hmm.
when it's actually not them. I love Khonshu. I think the CGI in that one was actually pretty solid.
I would
Not
agree.
gonna lie. And then finally at the end where like where the two parts of Moon Knight like come together and are able to fight and able to have
Mm-hmm.
their own like ability to live and in one body. I thought that was so good. I I put it at A tier because I just think it was so unique for the MCU.
Yeah, this is one of the S tiers for me. I think this
Oh, okay.
show. I think this is one of the best. This was the best introduction to a character no one knows about Marvel has ever done. Because every other character, somewhat like you come in knowing Captain America, you come in knowing Iron Man. You know,
Hmm.
there's arguments. Maybe Vision is different. And so, like, there's arguments about it. Moon Knight
Right.
is the first true unknown, like comic book only guy
Hmm.
that they really brought in recently, and I thought they did it the best way possible. This show would be amazing even if it wasn't Marvel. Isaac was, I mean, I think he's one of the best actors in the MCU off that character. The ability to do
Hmm.
split, the way it was shot, Khonshu, the gods, like. But for
Yep.
me, the big thing this opened up was the ancestral plane being different,
Yep.
and so we've talked a lot about. My assumption was the bangle and the Ten Rings were going to be turned into an ancestral plane power, the way
Hmm.
that
Yep.
Moon Knight has it here, and the way that all of
Hmm.
them get in, which I think is a fun theory. I don't believe there's too much to it, but to me, Moon Knight was almost a perfect example of the MCU saying trust us and it working out.
Yes, and I also think too that and I don't know if you're like me in this instance, but like I feel like we put a lot of stock with MCU stuff based on how the quality of the villains are.
Yeah. Oh, for
And
sure.
I thought Ethan Hawke was a very strong
He
villain
was near
in this sense.
perfect because you don't.
Yes.
I mean, really, you don't disagree with him.
No, you don't. The reveal that he was the former host for Khonshu was awesome.
Yep.
The understanding that like kind of like he suffers for what he does by like putting glass in his shoes to like is a very like religious based type aspect.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the best villains are the ones that you kind of tend to have like an understanding of. Like he wants to rid the world of people who are truly bad, which is what the scales represent. So
100%.
that's fascinating to a degree to what you get. So I think that was a phenomenal villain for that.
Yep, I would agree. Let's go ahead and get to. So looking at this now, man, I think that I would have too many S tiers because I'm going to throw one at you that I don't know if you're prepared to be on here, and that is what if.
There's some what if episodes that I'm not necessarily like the most fond of,
Okay.
but the ones that I am fond of are so freaking good. I'm reading a what if book
Mm-hmm.
right now, which I'm excited to finish later. So that tells you how much I enjoy it. But man, the ones that like are just so good, like obviously T'Challa being Star-Lord is
Amazing.
phenomenal.
Amazing.
I loved the Christmas episode from this past year where they're like where like Happy like ends up becoming Hulk to like get rid of Justin Hammer from the Stark Tower. I
Yep.
thought was so good. I loved um I loved the Kahori episode, which is like a brand new character they introduced. I loved Killmonger becoming Black
Yep.
Panther
Yep.
in like last season, and I love the Ultron one where it like actually breaks through and there's connective
Yeah.
tissue for it because at the time you thought these were just like one-off episodes, and then no, like the Watcher brings everyone together for that final scene is just it's so good. I put it A tier for me.
Cool. I like
I
that.
put A tier. Yeah, I don't. I think there's some episodes that I'm not necessarily that crazy about, so that's probably why I can't put it at S tier. But like, I think for the ones that they hit out of for the ones that I enjoy, they just do such a good job with. So I put it A tier. I
I,
mean, in the episode of T'Challa as Star Lord, he has Thanos as like one of his members of his crew, which is
yeah,
just what the
which
hell.
is
And it's
awesome.
Josh Brolin voicing him too. It
Yeah,
was
I would
phenomenal.
say What If is deserving of an S tier, A tier conversation. It is. I didn't expect it to be amazing. I really was just like, we'll see what it is, but it's their animation killing it. And I genuinely thought the coolest part about this was one, you see Dark Strange in that conversation, which then did come out in the live action. The
Mm,
Watcher, which there has been confirmed that Stan Lee is the Watcher in the live action, so that's always a
yeah.
fun tie-in. But the biggest one
It's
for me
cool
is
as
just
hell.
it really did kick off their animation side, and it was beautiful. Like I really
It kicked off the
artistically
multiverse
amazing.
technically when you think
Hmm.
about it. Yeah, so like it started the multiverse saga, which Deadpool made fun of to a degree, but still, like it really kind of gave us that logic of what could be.
Yeah,
Oh, and then
there's
of course, like the end of second season where they show the tree that fucking Loki is actually creating,
yep.
which was awesome as well. So yes, that absolutely deserves that spot.
I can't find the thumbnail for it, but I'm guessing it's this one. But we're gonna use this as this one. Secret Invasion. Secret Invasion.
I had such high hopes for this one, and
I agree.
this might be the only I think this is the only one I'm going to put in D tier
Okay. Why?
because you have like well first of all like you now have like a super ultra powered scroll kid running around in the MCU right now that
Yep.
like has every power known to man from every major Marvel character
Yep.
that's now out there, and you have no idea what the hell that's going to go on with that. I think uh I think Talos and Maria Hill. Well, the Maria Hill death I think was understandable because I think that
I
was like a
don't. I thought
character.
that was the number one slip up in MCU history.
I really because I
Yes.
thought Talos deserved a little better from his treatment in this show, and not to mention like you have a president that's getting replaced by the way in Captain America that like sets war on all alien invaders now
What
throughout.
was the benefit of her dying?
I think the idea was to give some sort of trauma to Nick Fury to like understand how big of a threat oh god, what was the name
Hi,
of the
Gigi. Hi, Hunter.
Hey guys, the villain of Secret Invasion. God, what the fuck was his name?
Let's
Um
see.
the actor's really good by the way.
He's
I just
sick.
can't
He was
remember.
great in Barbie. Gravik.
Yeah, Gravik, yeah, he it sets off like how dangerous Gravik is because Maria Hill is killed by Nick Fury, who's actually Gravik in disguise.
But could that not have happened for Nick Fury just turning around and shooting 10 random people? Why
That's
did
true.
they killed off, like, genuinely,
Mhm.
you're talking about an Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. character,
Yes.
a character that's
Mhm.
been with us forever, a character that is always tied to Nick Fury, and you killed her off in a way that had literally no benefit to the MCU. Like, her death didn't do anything that
Mhm.
another thing could have done, and there was no, like, there was just nothing about, there was no reason for it. And I know we get into this conversation because, for example, during the run of Game of Thrones, I'm a firm believer that many of the main characters should have died, especially at the
Mhm.
Battle of Winterfell when the Night King was, like, the fact that so many main characters survived is one of my core issues of Game of Thrones.
Right.
I think killing main characters is awesome in shows. But
Mhm.
her dying there at the beginning of the show was very dumb and deflating, and you're wasting a really, really fun actress that we all know and love whose character could have shined through in that show. I thought
That's
it was
fair. But I
worthless and
also
stupid.
but I'm also curious from the perspective of we've already seen kind of like the highlights of Maria Hill, like in the beginning, like first three phases of the MCU. That
Name
I'm not going
one
to deny
time,
that they
name
could have done
one
more.
thing. Give me one scene where you were like, undeniably, we finally got her scene.
Mm,
Like,
good point.
you can't, she's there, sure, and like
Yeah.
anytime you see Fury, she's a part of it. And when you find out Fury's a Skrull in the Spider-Man movies, and like she was also a Skrull, so she's on vacation. Not once did they ever give Colby Smolder like a chance to be a character that we all wanted to love, to be loved.
Okay. I'll give you that. Yeah. I um I would also kind of put in perspective too, like I'm not necessarily mad at the reveal of Rhodey as a scroll. I'm kind of like now it puts me in a tailspin because now because the whole
I
thing now
fucking hate Rhodey as a Skrull.
it forced me to now kind of like go backwards to figure out, okay, he was a scroll for how many of these important scenes that
Dude,
were
all of
throughout it.
them, all
In
the
all of them.
entire Thanos gauntlet, everything about and him saving Rocket and being saved by Ant-Man and the thing,
Hmm.
every inch since he was shot down in what, Iron Man
Yeah.
2, Iron Man 3,
Iron Man. It was Civil War
Civil
where
War.
like they were
Thank you.
having the battle because like there's a. Did you ever see the deleted scene from Falcon and Winter Soldier, by the way, where like Sam is apologizing to him for like
No.
shooting him? Yeah, it's on I saw it on YouTube. Like there's a deleted scene from Falcon and Winter Soldier when in the first episode they're walking around like the museum to like honor Cap, and Sam is trying to like
Yeah.
apologize for what he did for
Yes.
shooting him down, and Rhodey kind of like brushes it aside and like says like it's okay, and then like and it's okay, and it says like if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be able to like move the way I can and stuff, and it's like fuck, like if that was in there, and then now finding this out, it's like damn, like that kind of irks me a little bit
Yeah.
now.
It to me, this show took. They're so lucky Jonathan Majors fucked up because, like, I'm being
Yeah.
serious too. Like,
Mm,
they are so fucking lucky that happened because there was
mm,
oversaturation, there was terrible run times, their CGI was atrocious. It was
yeah.
the worst scripts in some of these shows we've ever read. And so the issue I have is, like, once the major stuff happened, they're like, we got to reset. They said, let's reset everything. They have so many issues to tie up, and most of them come from this fucking show. And it's so
Right.
infuriating. To your point, though, yeah, you got I forget her name, the young scroll running around with every power, and that scene was just terrible. And they wanted this to be this triumphant, like, look, they have all the
Yeah.
power scene. How are you able to master all those powers in 2 seconds? Is the first
Right.
thing
And
that
you know,
comes out.
here's another thing that pisses me off too. Uh, Agent Ross in the first episode, you find out he's a scroll. That episode comes out after Wakanda Forever.
Mm-hmm.
When he plays like a big role in first of all, you find
Yeah,
out
dude.
like he's married to like the new like director of the CIA who's now going to be the lead for the Thunderbolts and stuff like that. And and like he's going to prison, and the Dora Milaje break him out and stuff. So now he's an enemy of the
All
state
of
and all
that.
that.
Scroll.
So like when did that switch happen?
To
Like
me,
that part is gonna drive me nuts.
it was like a shock factor they thought we would all just accept, and it was terribly done and no root issue. And like the thing is, we don't need to see everything happen. Like you don't need to see every inch of the MCU happen. But when you
Right.
replace integral moments of characters bonding with one another and massive timelines in that shift, like here's what I wish would have happened. I wished I loved the harvest. I thought the thought of the harvest was sick. I wish that she would have gone there as Fury and the harvest would have failed. Like the harvest in itself is Nick Fury would collect all the blood and all the cells from any battle. He would go in and collect them all so that no one could duplicate or whatever. Genuinely, I wish they would have tried it and they both would have found out it didn't work, and then they would have just fought as Skrulls. Like they would have literally had a Skrull fight where they are super fast and super strong and super awesome, and it just would have genuinely been two Skrulls going at it, and it would have grounded it a lot. Because then you can actually roll out the harvest correctly and roll out parts of that maybe, down the road one person gets a certain part. Not, oh, cool, now I'm Drax and the Hulk and I can fly and I'm Captain Marvel and all this stuff. I don't understand how they passed any of that.
And also
It's terrible.
And also the part that really struggles with me. So like in the comics, like Secret Invasion was a big fucking deal.
That's my other point, is they're so lucky about Jonathan Majors, because Secret Invasion to Secret Wars, this all is supposed to be, we don't know who we can trust. And I understand that they went for shock value because, hey, MCU fans, you can't even trust Rhodey. And it's like, that is just, you're just laughing in our face. You're basically saying you don't give a fuck.
Right, because now, yeah, and also, like, I agree with you about the relation thing. That pissed me off so much is, like, now I look back and I watch, like, if it's on TV, like, I'll occasionally watch, like, Endgame or something. Like, the scenes with Rhodey and Nebula, like, just talking and kind of bonding, it's, like, nothing now. Like, it's completely nothing, and it pisses me off. But I'm trying to remember, like, the other thing that, like, pissed me off about this show. There's a lot of things that made me mad. But also, like, in Captain Marvel, they already did like a 180 by essentially saying, no, the Skrulls are not bad. They're refugees. It's the Kree that are technically like the evil, like overlord individuals that are trying to like push their agenda. So if you're going to do Secret Invasion, it's hard to make that work when you've already set up in the MCU the Skrulls are not evil. They're just fleeing and they don't have a home. So it's kind of like, how does that work? How do you make Secret Invasion an evil intended thing like it was in the comics when you've already kind of pigeonholed yourself by basically saying like, no, they're not evil. They're just trying to find a new home. It's so backwards, man.
I'd agree with that. Let's get to the actual two that, because I was trying to obviously save the big two for the end here. I don't think I missed any. I'm going through this.
Do you want to put the Netflix ones in here?
Sure. Let's do that. Luke Cage, Greg. I have not seen I've seen all the Daredevil. I've never seen another Netflix one.
Really? Did you see the Defenders?
Nope. Don't care to.
Oh, okay. Luke Cage, I remember watching all of the first season in one day, and I remember Netflix crashed after I was watching episode 7 of the 8-episode show because of how many people were on Netflix watching that show. I distinctly remember that. I was in my parents' basement trying to binge it all and watching it, and Netflix being down for hours because of this, which was crazy to me. And I don't know if you've ever like knew this, but Mahershala Ali is like the first villain in Luke Cage. Yeah, he plays Cottonmouth. Yeah, he plays which is, by the way, another example of a recast in the MCU. So just saying that,
dude. So now knowing that, I would watch the show just for him. I love Mahershala Ali.
Oh, he's great. He's great. He plays a club owner in the first 4 episodes of it, and his name's Cottonmouth, and his sister can't remember the actress name, but like she's been in a lot of stuff. But like the sister is like a councilwoman, I guess, and like she ends up being like one of like the whole season villains and stuff
That's
like that.
so
But
cool.
but it's
Maybe I'll check
I
it out.
loved it. Yeah, I thought it's really good. Rosario Dawson also appears in it. She's the connective like person in all the Netflix shows, which I appreciate because she plays Night Nurse, which is kind of like the one
Huh.
that like kind of like gets the heroes back together, which I like that.
Didn't know that.
Um, but yeah, in I put it looking back on it because I don't have as strong of an opinion about the second season. The first season I loved. I put it
We are doing, just to gut check for anyone watching or you, we are doing the whole project of it. So
yes.
when I do Loki, it will be Loki.
Okay, got it. I will put I will put Luke Cage at B tier.
Okay,
And the
that's where I
reason I'll
go.
put Luke Cage is a very good show, especially the first season. It's very, very good.
Mm-hmm.
I put it B tier only because I don't have as strong an opinion about the second
Mm.
season as I do the first one. But the first one I think was very, very good. So I would put it at B tier for me.
Uh, Jessica Jones.
I also put this at B tier,
Cool.
but
Never seen it.
I think Jessica Jones is
Is she a
slightly better
detective?
than yeah, private investigator.
Cool.
So like Luke Cage actually debuts in Jessica Jones in like the first
Yeah,
episode
Nico
actually,
really
I
liked
think.
Jessica Jones. I just never dove in.
Oh yeah, yeah, Kristen Ritter I thought was so good in this show. The David Tennant who plays Kilgrave as a scary villain is so good. Um I I think there's some creepy aspects to it because of like how like twisted Kilgrave is because Kilgrave's like thing is like he's able to force people to do what he tells them to do.
Hmm.
And I guess that's like a superpower, but like Jessica Jones is the first one
Interesting.
to like able to not do it while he held her captive essentially for like I think a year and a half. And that's like makes up like a lot of the first season. That's why she's so bitter and
Yeah.
stuff. Um the first season was very strong. Second season was okay, I think. So I would also put this B tier as well.
Yep.
They're like neck and
That's
neck
where I threw it
for me.
for you.
Mm.
Punisher.
I'm gonna say B tier. I liked it. It was only one season. I I do think I think the actor who plays him is perfect
Yeah,
for it.
John Bernthal.
Yeah, John Bernthal. Oh, he's perfect for that role. But I think the series as a whole, I think it was okay. It didn't really it didn't really, I don't think added much in my opinion, but I still was entertained by it. So, and plus Karen from Daredevil's in it too, which I think that's a good combo together. So I give it B tier just because of the strength of the actors.
Iron Fist.
Ooh boy. Um, that's a D tier.
Yep, that's where I put it.
They they rushed that show, and you can tell. And the thing that is really unfortunate about it too is like when you're watching it, it's hard to like the guy who plays Danny Rand.
He's a
It,
douche. I don't even
it's
know it, and
like
I hate the kid.
yeah, like I'm just like because I know he was cast because he was in Game of Thrones because like I don't remember who he played in Game of Thrones, but like that was like his calling card. But like just watching the show, it's it's very slow moving. I appreciate like the connective tissue from Daredevil because the hand is in it, which is like the big like organization and all that from like the street level versions. I like it, but like
Hmm.
there's something about him that I just don't appreciate. I think what's funny is they didn't make a second season. He does appear in the second season of Luke Cage, and he's a bit
Really?
more, yeah, he's a bit more looser and a bit more kind of like entertaining because I think they play off each other well, like him and Luke Cage, the actors for that, which is I think good. But like no, Iron Fist is just it's
Yep.
so slow and so like just not I don't think that enjoyable. I like the girl who plays I think Jessica Henwick, who's like his love interest and
It's
stuff. I
all
think
foreign
she's really
language
good.
to me.
Yeah, but like aside from that though, no, it's just not a good show. I would say D because they really rushed it to like get it out so they can get the Defenders out beforehand.
Yeah, do the Defenders. Transparently, I have no interest in any of those shows. Respectfully, knowing
Mhm.
they're just all there for me. Do the Defenders real quick, and then we'll get back to some shows that we can discuss together.
Defenders is B tier. It was really cool
Oh,
to see like
nice.
all those characters put together in like one setting. And obviously like Daredevil is like the one that like really kind of like brings together. But what's really cool about it is that when you're watching the first couple of episodes, each character
Mm-hmm.
is has their own it's kind of weird for me to say, but like basically when you're watching it, each scene with that specific character has a certain like tint when
Oh
you're
yeah,
watching it. So like when you're watching Daredevil, like the tint is like red in the scene.
that's cool.
When you're watching Jessica Jones, it's blue. When you're watching Luke Cage, it's yellow. When you're watching Iron Fist, it's green. And then when they all four of them get together, it's like in the back of a Chinese restaurant that like they're sitting at a table and like all the colors kind of like merge together
That's cool.
in a sense. And there's a scene where Misty Knight, who's the detective in Luke Cage, she's like interviewing Cage after he just gets released from prison. Spoiler alert on that. But like as she's going to invade and she's going to like check out a crime scene, and as she's like in yellow, she immediately walks into the room and it shifts to blue because now it's associated with Jessica Jones.
Nice.
So
Um,
I like how they set that up essentially. But yeah, I put it B tier, especially because I think the ending was crazy to me. So yeah,
cool. Let's do Daredevil.
S tier.
Oh wow.
S
Okay.
tier.
Why?
Daredevil's incredible. Daredevil was the first MCU television show. First of all, the
So,
guy
uh, it, I guess technically now it's MCU. That's a good point.
it is. It was the first MCU. It was the first MCU television show. I binged the entire first season in one sitting. I
Yep.
binged the second season in a couple days. I did binge the third season in a couple days as well. I I thought character, every person who was cast for their character was perfect.
Yeah. Everyone.
Kingpin was Vincent D'Onofrio's Kingpin was
Mm-hmm.
incredible. I love how bloody and violent it was because it was a shock to me. Like there's a scene in the third or fourth episode where a Russian mob member gets decapitated with a car
Mm-hmm.
door, and you see like the body like go down with all the blood and stuff, and it's like, oh, this is real. And I love how the first season isn't an origin story necessarily. Like you don't see like how he like goes blind or anything like
No.
that. You just
Just
it's
is.
just like the first couple seasons, the first episode, like the first scene, it's literally like him in like black garb with like a black like mask almost that like covers him completely. So it's like an origin story, and then you see him get his actual costume in the last episode, and it's a perfect setup for it.
Yep.
And the way they do that show, it was like a 180 compared to what we've seen in MCU stuff. And I think the story was perfect for it as well. I think the characters were great. So it's S tier for me. 100%
Yep.
S tier.
Yeah, it's. I would probably have it up there. I mean, it is a Marvel project before there were Marvel projects, so it has an
Yes.
unfair disadvantage of not being backed by trillions of dollars. So, I
Well,
think the way that it,
technically it was MCU before they
Greg,
did kind of like a small
Greg,
reset. It was.
Greg, there's a 0% chance they had the budget of Loki. What are we? I mean, what are we talking about here?
It was not the. I understand that it was not on Disney Plus, but I am telling you, when they set those shows up, they were MCU.
Greg, but I'm not disagreeing with you. I asked you
Okay.
about the budget.
Okay, fine.
It was
I'll give you
not
that.
backed by a $1 trillion company.
Fair. I'll
Sure,
give you
it
that.
was Marvel, but it was not
Mhm.
what Loki and these cinematic adventures we've been gone on. It's not WandaVision. It's not.
Got it.
Fuck, it's not even She-Hulk in terms of the actual showmanship of the show, but
I'll
it's a
give you that.
beautiful show. Yeah.
Yes, yes, and I 100%. You need to at least watch the first season. I think, in my opinion.
Of Daredevil?
Yes.
Do you not remember when I said Daredevil was the only one I've seen all the way through?
Oh, that's right. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
No, you're
Yeah.
good. You're good. You're
Okay.
good.
My bad.
Yeah,
My bad.
I loved him. I thought he was. It was fun. It was relatable. It was down to earth. It was obtainable. It was one, but it also came off the heels of us all just watching the Daredevil movie, which, respectfully, so I thought the Daredevil movie was really, really, really good for what it was. Like the
Right, for
Carmen
when it
Electra
came out in
tie-in.
2002,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
All right, let's do. So we're through all those. I'm very cool with just not. We'll leave Agent Carter where she is. We'll leave all the one
Yeah.
shots where they are. Last two shows that I
We
believe that I
got wait,
see.
one more real quick. One more. Echo.
Yeah, I don't see Echo in here. Yeah, go
It
for
did
it.
just cut Echo I put in Echo was another one I binged in one day.
Oh, cool.
It was only 5 episodes, so it was
Very
like real
doable.
quick,
Yeah.
very doable, very easy. Um I put in B tier.
Okay.
Um Echo was not a character that I knew I needed a show
I'm
about.
using the Shield logo as Echo.
That's fine. I because like after I saw her in Hawkeye, like she's a cool character. Don't get me wrong, but
Yes.
I didn't know I needed an episode about her. But then after I watched it, like the scene where they're in like the roller rink with the Russian mob like holding
Yeah.
her hostage and it just becomes a violent like fight afterwards. I love that shit.
Yeah.
And and also like one of the reasons I loved Daredevil as well was because like you understood Fisk,
Mm-hmm.
like like you really like understood like
This
the
was a
human
peel behind
aspect
the
of it.
curtain there. Yeah.
This was another peel behind the curtain for him where like you understood like hey like he truly does love Maya and stuff, but
Mm-hmm.
he just like can't do it in a way that's like able to connect with her and stuff. So I think I put Echo in B tier. I think the reason I don't put it higher is because, like again, I don't think there was a bigger impact. I do think there was an impact to a degree because now like we're gonna
No, I'm
lead
with
into
you there.
Fisk running
Yeah.
for mayor. So like I like that, but I think for the most part, like Maya's kind of gonna be in like her own realm for a bit, and we don't need to go back there for a while. It's just like easily digestible. It was a very good show to watch, and the girl who plays her cousin was the voice of Kahori in What
Mm-hmm.
If.
Love that. All right, let's get to the big two here that I think we'll both agree on, but we'll see. Let's start with Loki.
What's interesting about Loki to me, Loki was very slow building
Mm-hmm.
to start for the first season,
It
at
was
least.
a lot of world to build, but I'm with you.
It was a lot to build, a lot. But the thing about it is like as it's building, you can't help but like be excited for what happens next. Like in episode 4 where like they meet the tribunal and stuff and they turn out to be robots
Mm-hmm.
and then but Loki gets like pruned and stuff. And then you get into the next episode where you find out where all the prune happens and you meet all the variants of Loki's and stuff. And it's just it's interesting because like I think it was slow to build, but when it finally got to the end, and I'll put this in for both seasons, they were slow to build for both seasons, but both finales in each episodes just hit you like a ton of bricks
Mm-hmm.
in both ways. So I, I put them in S tier for both for
Yeah,
me.
Loki for me, it is the greatest MCU project outside of the Infinity Wars. Like it does two things that I really commend well. One is it continues the story of Loki. So we are in a universe which has Loki after Loki actually died and there was purpose for his death. But it doesn't
Mm-hmm.
just bring him back in some lazy way. There's arguments that when he watched the video of who he was and he just like walked out our Loki, it's like, there's a little rush, but also like it's undeniable that he actually saw his future. So I did love
Mm-hmm.
that. The other side that I will say for Loki, it is the largest stage setter of anything that we've seen. And what I mean by that is that allowed the Jonathan Majors to be the next big villain, obviously what happened, to go into Ant-Man, but it also allowed us to have Deadpool and Wolverine. And like it did so much for the MCU that I think it without them knowing, they stumbled on something with Loki that opened up a fourth dimension of the MCU we can all enjoy, which is prune timelines. And the prune timeline of Wesley Snipes and Blade and all of the Deadpool stuff, like, wouldn't be possible without Loki. And I genuinely believe this is the best MCU thing ever. The fact that they are agents at some mythical, magical time variance authority. The fact that the big bads are just these robots. The fact that Miss Minutes comes out of nowhere. The fact that the show's endings are two of the greatest TV show endings for seasons that I think we'll ever see. And the fact that it all comes from Loki, who was our original bad guy. Like, the best show, the best product they've ever put out.
I would also put the penultimate episodes for each season were
Agreed.
phenomenal
100%.
as well. Especially this last one where he finally admits that he just wants his friends, which was probably the hardest thing for Loki to ever admit, which was phenomenal.
Yeah.
That was probably the best like character development that we've ever seen from this character as well.
Yeah, it's crazy. And then WandaVision.
Oh, S tier. It's the original Disney Plus MCU show. The story made you want to come back every week to figure out what the fuck was going on. The tongue-in-cheek references to like every single like top tier TV comedy that was like a weekly occurrence was awesome to see. The different supporting characters from different Marvel properties that had a significant role in this show was fascinating to see. So and the fact also, like it points out, it's the only Marvel property I think that has ever won like an Emmy or Academy Award.
I think
is phenomenal.
This did what no other show is able to do, which is why it's so frustrating that we can't talk about Agatha right now. There's no spoilers there. You'll understand what I'm saying when you press play on the first episode. But what this show did genuinely was make us excited for all the shows. This was the perfect show to start with because all shows now had to be watched. It was beautiful and confusing, and it allowed us, really, for the first, I think, 3 episodes, to just enjoy the show. Like, sure, there were weird things happening and this and that, but, like, you really, like, episode 1, for example, the dinner party, obviously there's the part where the guy's choking, and she's like, stop it, and she's laughing, going, stop it, and, like, you're like, what the fuck is happening? But it allowed you every second outside of those breaks to just enjoy the show.
Right.
Which I loved.
Like, it's like in the first episode is literally like just a play on Dick Van Dyke show from like the 50s and 60s, and you're just watching them like act like a new married couple, like in a black and white setting. Like, it's just the first few the majority of that show is just very like relaxing. It's just like, oh, you can just laugh at it and kind of like see what's going on and all that. And then it's like the last 5 minutes you're like, oh, I need to like pay attention to this shit, which I appreciate because it's like, oh, you can kind of like be careless about it, but yet, oh no, there's a bigger reason for this, which
100%.
is something that makes it exciting and something that you want to go back to.
100%. Yeah, we agree there. Cool. I'm going to really quickly use the restroom. Greg, if you could do me a favor and discuss with the nobody that's watching, just to give you a heads up, so don't get nervous.
Fair enough.
Don't get nervous.
That's
How excited you are for Agatha All Along, and then I do want to break into some conversation about it. So give me 1 second while I use a restroom.
So for anyone who is not watching right now, I'm very excited for Agatha All Along, simply for the fact that Catherine Hahn is awesome as this character. Phenomenal. And the thing that makes me excited about this is that, 1, it's the right timing that this is coming out for spooky season, but 2, that villain of Agatha Harkness was excellent to bring out the Scarlet Witch in Wanda Maximoff. So now we're getting a full season to figure out, okay, this is now a powerful witch that is trying to reclaim what she lost. And she's going to have essentially an entire coven of witches to try to essentially get what she did. And it's going to be this season-long journey to maybe figure out, okay, is she using these individuals to get what she wants, or is something being built with this character to kind of redeem herself? Is this going to be a new Loki, to a sense, where we find joy in this character, or is this character truly just an evil type individual that is always going to find an upper hand and just going to come out on top and not care about anything? There's so many layers to this that I'm just very excited for, compared to what we saw in WandaVision, where she's just this entity trying to take advantage of her and trying to draw on that power and trying to get more than what she is. It makes it a very exciting and very compelling type
my
thing.
computer. Yeah.
You know what, something I was thinking about with this as well?
What's up?
So like this could essentially be in a show where, kind of in the same vein of Loki,
Yeah.
where because of how Loki was set up, it made you really fall in love with a villain and kind of see a redemption arc which involved with that. I'm curious if this is what this becomes for Agatha all along as well. If this is a redemption arc, or if this is kind of the villain becoming more powerful than we expected.
Yeah, I will say this. So this is not in any way. None of this is spoilers or nothing, and that's how the conversation will be. This is again, so genuinely, one of the open-ended characters, and what I mean by that is Agatha Harkness in the comics was the fucking kind of babysitter for Wanda and Vision, like was with, their entire arc, turned out to be working for Mephisto, and really was always this old, obvious witch. Nothing that we've seen from Agatha has been really in the comics. She doesn't have her own comics. She doesn't have her own thing. Like, she's always in someone else's story or part of it. So the fact that she got her own show is crazy awesome, in my opinion, for kind of a couple reasons. But two, Katherine Heigl's awesome. Like, she's an amazing actress.
Yes.
She's great. I love the cast in this. You'll get to meet them. I love a couple different things about this show that really I had to rewatch and go on New Rockstars and check in. But at its core, the other thing that I'll add into the why you should be excited for Agatha, and probably what inflates my excitement by a lot, it is so tied to Halloween season. That it is there. Like, I love, and we've talked many times about Werewolf at Midnight, how cool and awesome Werewolf at Midnight is, and like just fun and different. This is going to be this year's Halloween show. So I'm very excited as a fan, very excited as an MCU fan. But to me, what this show is going to do is open up. So this was the first show rolled out under Marvel Television. There's MCU, which is Marvel Cinematic. There's Marvel Television, and there's Marvel Animation now. This and Daredevil will be under Marvel Television. What that means is that is Marvel's way to tell you you no longer have to see everything to understand anything. With WandaVision, with Cap, with all of the shows, Secret Invasion, even every show that's come out till now, you've had to watch every second to understand things. They are now allowing shows to be made that are canon, but are not this, like, linchpin of movement, because every show and movie up to now has been a continuation of something else. They now finally, in my opinion, have a show. Yes, as we talked about, it's a 3-part show that this will lead into Vision. Like, it will lead into Vision. But for me personally, this show is just a fun, enjoyable watch, which I love coming out of Marvel, because I don't feel like I need to watch this. I'm actually enjoying it.
Yeah, and I also think, too, on top of that, there's also Marvel Spotlight, which is what Echo technically fell under as well. So it's like
Which we'll see if they keep that up, but I'm with you.
Yeah, I'm curious about that, too. Like, they're not one-offs necessarily, but they're also kind of like in that vein where it's like they're their own story to a degree. And then there's also the special presentation, which is what Werewolf by Night and the Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas special was. It's like they're one entity that, like, you don't need to, like, that like is that's it. After
Agreed.
that, there's no follow up or anything to it. It's just a special thing for you to be able to see. So I'm excited. I agree. I think Catherine Hahn is awesome for the fact that I think she
Yes.
just made that character so
Undeniably fun.
strong.
Yep.
Oh, she made it so fun that like you couldn't help but want more of it as well. So I'm excited for it. Which and for the record, like I don't know if we ever like I think we might have brought this up as well or anything, but as much as I love WandaVision for the story and stuff, and I think we may have like talked about this when this movie came out and stuff, but I felt like when Wanda was put into Doctor Strange's movie and stuff
Yeah.
like that, and then you find out she's the villain,
Sucked.
it was like
Sucked.
it sucked.
I
It
hated
it was like there was so much like character progression in WandaVision, and then you find out that she just like she's just like obsessed and like taken over by the Darkhold that it's just like it pissed you off. After the fact, it's kind of like fuck, I kind of understand it.
Mhm.
I kind of get it, but why did you have to do it? You kind of like took something that we loved and we enjoyed so much and just like completely turned it on its head. So, but no, I'm very curious to see how about this. I'm also curious to see Aubrey Plaza in this because I don't know who she's playing and I don't and I that's the other reason I like this. I'm excited for the shows because like I don't know what I'm
Yeah.
expecting when I'm going into this.
Yeah. Yes, for sure. It's really, 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 really inviting and fun. I feel like I'm watching it for myself. And I was talking to a bunch of guys today about this in one chat where they were just like, "Oh, like this just feels like I'm getting fatigued." And I basically challenged them. I was like, "Well, what's the last thing you watched?" "Well, we watched Deadpool." "Okay, what was before that?" "Oh, well, we watched uh, Echo." I was like, "Awesome. When did Echo come out?" Because technically, that came out. Granted, I know that I was saying like Deadpool is the only movie and Agatha is the only team. Echo came out in January. Like,
Yeah, I
yes,
know. Like
technically it's 2024, but the fuck it is.
dude, think about this. There's only been off the top of my head, there's only been three Marvel things that have come out so far this year. It was Echo, it was X-Men '97, and Deadpool.
And now Agatha, yes, and X-Men
And now
'97
Agatha.
is a continuation of an old show. Echo,
Yes.
like anybody saying that there's Marvel fatigue, I would challenge you to think about what you've watched that's Marvel. And I don't disagree. There was Marvel fatigue. It was super, 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 super just rolled out as a cash cow.
Mm-hmm.
They've reined it in. It's a bit more fun. I'm a big fan.
It is. They reined it out. I also think too, it's better for the actors too, because I remember,
Dude, of course it is.
because I distinctly remember Elizabeth Olsen saying like she had to pass on roles because of like the commitment it was to play Wanda Maximoff. So
Yep.
like I think I love that Marvel is taking a less is more approach to this. And if you think about it, off the top of my head, next year, the only movies I know for sure coming out like in 2025 are Captain America, Brave New World,
Mm-hmm.
and Thunderbolts.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. I don't think there's anything else coming out at
No.
the end of the year, like unless they film like fucking Fantastic Four that quickly and it comes out in Christmas, which I doubt. But even
No.
then, like, but
That's a
even then,
26
like that's
release, I thought.
I think so. So
Yeah.
like, there's only two movies next year, and then I think in terms of shows, I believe off the top of my head, like I think Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man will be out, but that's animation. I think Eyes of Wakanda will be out sometime next year, but that's only 4 episodes, so that's not even a big thing. And then maybe another season of What If, but aside from that, like there's not like
No.
anything like out of the way that you have to go see. Like I think they're pacing themselves very well.
100%. I mean, that's a good MCU talk, Greg. I am going to shut us down so we can go enjoy some football and you can get back to reading your Marvel. But I think that was, as I blinked, it is already 7:18, meaning we're 4 minutes into the kickoff, meaning that we had a good time.
That was not expected to talk as much as we did. So I appreciate it.
Fuck it. Our
I
show, we
might
run it.
actually, yeah, I was gonna say I might just watch the first episode of Agatha tonight and see how it goes, but we'll see.
Gotta be
I
better
kind of
than
really
the
want
game.
to. Yeah, I really want to finish my book though because I like it. You would like it. it's a what if story about how
Yeah.
Loki plays a prank where Thor is being sent from the Bifrost to go down to Midgard,
Okay.
or I'm sorry, he's supposed to go to another realm, but the way that Loki essentially sets the coordinates, he accidentally gets sent to Midgard with the destroyer, and
Oh,
he has an accomplice who messes with the destroyer and sets it off in downtown New York.
nice.
So and then Thor, being Thor, tries to stop it, and in the
Naturally.
process is killed. So there's a scene where Loki essentially is determined to be the culprit of it and gets casted down to Midgard, kind of like Thor was casted down to
Yeah.
Midgard. And so now there's like a whole story about how Loki's trying to redeem himself. And then there's also something else that happened during the attack on New York that sets
Hmm.
off a whole other chain of events that's also like wild as well. It's
Damn.
a really good book so far.
That sounds pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Good. Well, a wonderful show, Greg. We'll see everybody next week, same time.
Same time, same place, of course, until we get bored with this. But I'm gonna enjoy myself.